What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Sporgo. And today we're going to provide you guys some tips and tricks as far as to get the best score that you can in the Sarah's event. And the reason that you want to do well in this event is because you can actually climb this ladder and get these carnival points every single day to help you get that EX generic memory from the carnival. And this resets every single day. So I do apologize, guys, that I didn't get out a video sooner for you because this is already after the reset. So we did lose that one day. So hopefully you are playing this. Play this every single day to try to get as many points as possible. So the first tips that I can give you guys is, let me go ahead and remove my ugly mug here, is that you're going to want to use a balance, an attack, and a defensive fighter. It doesn't matter what color they are. They have no advantage or disadvantage in this thing, but you just want to make sure that you do use one of the other, right? Just make sure you have a balance, make sure you have an attack, make sure you have a defense, and they're going to be your main damage dealers. And then you want to have a couple supports. Now, you can do this a couple different ways. You can have 2 supports, you can have 3 supports. It's really up to you as far as, you know, your roster and the characters that you have available to you. You guys can see that I'm using Lung, I'm using Athena for my supports. I'm using Athena for that 100% attack on her second skill. I'm using Lung for the 100% increased damage received from her, or increased target damage received on her 1 and 3rd skill, on top of the increased critical damage from her 3PG. And then, of course, I'm using free Ivy, which if you were playing during the Soul Calibur event, you were able to get Ivy, hopefully, to A7. That's the reason I'm putting her on there. And then, of course, you know, I'm using Leona and Kula. And another tip that I can give you guys as far as setting up your teams is that the strikers, you want to make sure the strikers have the nice little link effects on them. That will really, really help. These link effects help a tremendous amount. You know, some of them have extra buffs. Also, the strikers that you equip to these characters, they really should have cards, guys. You want to equip cards that give the most amount of CP possible or combat power. A good free-to-play set as far as CP would be the Mad Tea Party set. That is going to help out tremendously if you have that set, right? If I can ever find a damn thing, you know, I'm always looking for these things. But this set right here, these babies, these here will add a lot of CP. And then, of course, for option cards, free-to-play wise, you can use your Zhang Fei cards. Let me click on option here. You can use your Zhang Fei card, or you can use the Orochi card. And I'll show you what those things are. So here's the Zhang Fei card. This card adds a lot of CP. This card adds a lot of CP with the Cosmic card here. And then, of course, this card here adds a lot of CP. Any one of those 3 option cards are going to really, really help, guys. Like, the more CP that your strikers have, the more damage that your damage dealers will actually do. And it's really, really important to have the cards equipped on the strikers for your main damage dealers. In the run you guys are going to see, I had no cards equipped, so I actually could have done better. But like, say, for example, in my case, you know, I'm using Ivy and Leona and Kula as my damage dealers. Well, these characters that I'm using for the strikers, I want to have cards on them so that way I can increase my combat power for my main damage dealers, guys. I want to do as much as possible. Another little tip that I can give you guys, and some of you are going to have this, some of you are not, but if you have like this set right here that actually gives the increase to PG rate whenever you're tagging out characters by 20%, this will really help. It's not a necessity. You don't need it, but it is a good set to have. And again, you know, as far as, you know, like whenever you're setting up your cards for your characters, you want to equip your main damage dealing cards on your main damage dealing characters. When it comes to sports, it's not going to be as much of a big deal unless you're actually using that particular sport as a damage dealer, right? Those 3 damage dealers are the ones, guys. Your balance, your defense, and your attack are going to be the ones that you really want to have your cards equipped for the strikers, and you want to have, you know, the best cards that you can put on those damage dealing characters, right? But Lung is just an insane support. I mean, obviously she's A5, guys, and then Athena is a really good support, and there are other supports as well, guys, that are really good. I mean, if you have Pai Chen, you can use her. You can use Kusanagi. He is fantastic, guys. Like, there's a lot of other characters that you can use as supports. These are the ones that I'm going to be using. And when it comes to, you know, the sets, guys, I'm just using a Soul Calibur set. You know, I'm missing 1 stone actually on my Ivy, which kind of sucks. I could have done a little bit better if I would have had that stone on her. And then Leona here, I'm just using her set, right? But again, guys, just use the most powerful set that you have. If you have the Rugal set, if you have the Athena set, use those sets instead. If you have the sets that are specifically designed for the particular character that you're using, use those sets, right? I'm using this, obviously, with Kula. When you have an A5, you really want that Shermie option card. I mean, A5 Mai, guys. There's all kinds of different characters that you can use for these things. You just want to use the most powerful, balanced attack and defensive character that you have. It doesn't matter what color they are. SS and BS characters are buffed in this, but I'm telling you guys right now, you're going to do a whole lot better if you have some really powerful EX characters. And then obviously, if you're using the Virtua Fighter characters and you have them leveled up, well, they're going to be just, I mean, they're going to be the best here, guys. They're going to be really, really nuts in this thing. So you guys can see that I was able to get over 80 billion in my run. I'll just go ahead and show it to you guys right now, and we'll just run through what I'm actually doing. Now, a disadvantage that I had in this run, guys, is that I didn't have my striker ability mapped to my controller, so I wasn't bringing in my striker, so I could have done a lot more damage because I got them extra buffs from my striker. What do you essentially want to do, guys, when you start up the fight is you just want to run through your characters, run through each of the characters, and do their 3PGs over and over and over. This is exactly how we used to play Spider Robot back in the day. It's pretty much the same methods. So for all you old schoolers, you know pretty much what's going on here, right? And what you're trying to do, guys, in the first 30 seconds of this fight, Sarah is not going to have any kind of disadvantage, right? It doesn't matter if you use an attack, a defense, or a balance. She isn't going to have a disadvantage. You don't see any highlights spinning around her right now at all, or any icons at all. So you're just really just running through your characters, doing all those 3PGs over and over and over. And then when it gets down to that 2-minute mark, you want to pay attention to whichever attribute she is actually weak to. So if attack shows up, you're going to want to make sure that you use your attacker with the buffs involved also. If a balance shows up, the same thing. If a defense shows up around her, then you want to use, your buffs before you use your defensive character, right? So right now you see the attack icon. I'm using Lung, right? I do her 1-2. I use Athena. I do her second skill, and then I bring in Leona. I get all the buffs from Athena. I get the buffs from Lung. As I'm using Leona in my run right here, while Sarah is weak to attack. Sorry guys, I'm really, really tired, man. I stayed up really late last night practicing all this stuff. Because I really want to try to get a video for you guys to help you out, man, because seriously, I want everybody to benefit as much as possible from this event. And after I use, like, say, my attacker, in this case with Leona, then what I'm doing is I just want to use Kula and Ivy and just use their 3PGs, guys. I'm not trying to do damage with them because they're not going to do any damage at all. If Sarah doesn't have the attribute for the character that you're using, she's not going to take very much damage at all. Right? So if she has the attack, you want to use an attacker. If she has the defense icon, you want to use the defensive character. Or if she has the balance, you want to use the balance type fighter, right? I mean, I know this might seem self-explanatory, but I do think, a lot of players might, misunderstand what's actually going on, or at least a newer player might, right? And with Leona, guys, I am doing the time stop with the Limitless, guys. I'm not really sure if this is the best way, in all honesty, in this particular game mode, but that's the way that I'm playing it, and I was able to put up some pretty damn good numbers, right? Not bad at all. I mean, it really is like, it just brings me back to the old days of when we actually played Spider Robot, except now Spider Robot, one character, you can get that 2.2 billion, and it's easy as hell, whereas with this, it's not so easy. You definitely got to play very, very careful. And I honestly, guys, I had to change my mapping on my controller to be able to do this because of the location of where the characters are at on the screen. And it really screwed me up. This wasn't the best run. I definitely can do better, but I had to do this run before the reset so that way I could at least get those points and get some of those carnival points to help my progression in the carnival. So again, guys, like, you're just always paying attention to the icons that are spinning around Sarah. So right now, they're attack. Now I'm going to look and see where they're at, right? And I can see their defense. So I switch to Kula after applying my buffs from Lung and Athena, right? Always after you apply your buffs, bring in the character that has the right attribute for Sarah, and you're going to do so much better. You're going to do so much damage, guys. It really does make a big, big difference. I mean, if you're using Kusanagi, use Kusanagi before you bring in your, the attribute character that you need, or whatever support character that you're actually using. And you guys can see, man, it's We're doing pretty well, man. We're really racking up some damage. We're doing pretty damn awesome. I'm very, very happy with what's going on here. And I'm sure I can improve, guys, especially with a little bit more practice as far as, my score. But I'm hoping that this will help you guys out. Again, guys, you just, the very first rotation, you just run through all your characters, do all the 3 PGs, get the EX cores ready or get their Awakened Skill ready, whatever the case may be. And afterwards, when that 2-minute mark hits and the attribute shows up on Sarah, excuse me, then you want to use the right attribute for the character. So again, there's defense around Sarah. We're using Kula, so we can do a whole bunch of damage. And believe me, guys, even though I got an A7 Kula, even though I got an A7 Leona, if I was using Leona right now against Sarah, I wouldn't be doing damage for crap, guys. Look at the damage I'm doing. Look at the damage, right? Look at this. It is pitiful. You need the right attribute for Sarah to do the most damage possible. If you don't, you're not going to get it. So this is where timing comes into play, guys. This is where it comes into play. Another thing is, if you have EX cores ready, the more they use, like right now, guys, I'm using Ivy and I'm using Leona really just to do their 3 PGs and get like all these EX cores off cooldown again, for example, in Lung's case, so I can get that increase to blast or strike skill damage, right? And for whatever other character, you really want to do the same thing, guys. You're really trying to balance out your time between all of them, because once your supports are gone, you're not going to do near as much damage. So you're really trying to split up the time between all of them, right? So there you see that, Sarah switched to attack, and now I'm bringing in Leona after I apply my buffs, and you can see the damage that we are doing. Again, I'm not really sure if maybe if I would have done skill 1, 2, and 3 and then the default, maybe that would have been better, but I felt like stalling the timer was actually a better idea as far as doing more damage. Obviously, guys, if you're using other characters that don't have Limitless, maybe you'll have to spam their Awakened skill. Maybe characters that have the resets skills, like say like Akira with a second skill, just hit that over and over and over, and then switch to the next character. Like this isn't the absolute positive way that you have to do it, but this is a format for you to figure out the best way possible to get the most points possible. Again, guys, 2 or 3 supports are going to be very, very helpful for you. And then, of course, having, a balance and attack and a defense. Now, you could come in here and you could use, just say like a balance and defense or an attack or a balance and try that, right? But if you get in a situation where you have an attribute where you don't have a damage dealer 4, it's really going to hurt your score, and you'll have to replay it over and over and over. So having all 3 of the attributes in here really will make your life a lot easier, because this is a long run, as you guys can see, because we keep doing 3 PGs over and over and over, the Limitless on the default over and over and over to stall that timer. And so this run is ridiculously long, right? It's ridiculously long, right? And I'm going to go ahead and go to the end. You guys can see, you've already seen exactly what I'm doing. I'm just going to kind of skip all the way to the end, and I'll let you guys take a look at the score here, right? So you guys can see right there, we got up to, almost 89, I think about 89 billion for me, which is pretty damn good, right? I mean, if I would have got a little bit more, if I got 90 billion, now we got a little bit more tickets, but I definitely have room for improvement. I can definitely do better in this thing. But again, I'm hoping that this is going to provide you guys with a format as far as trying to figure out the best way to get the most damage possible. And if you guys want to see a more free-to-play setup where I'm not using all these A7 EX characters, let me know down in the comments down below, and let me know if this video helps you out, guys. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. DD+7 time. The link is in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See everybody. Take care.